He came to Memphis to sing with a group called the Blackwood Brothers. It was the first time that I'd ever seen him.
How did you run into him this time? Just in Vegas?
I just realized that they were available. And he'd formed a new quartet called Stamps. And I listened to some of the records, and they had all this power.
He made the stamp. He brought them.
He put them together.
One of them is his nephew, and one's his son-in-law. The other, I don't know where they came from.
But each one of the guys individually are good, as you can see.
I noticed.
They all have good.
See, we come from a different background. We come from the Middle West or from the West Coast.
You don't hear this too much.
So we don't hear this. So we see a bunch of guys, and it has a whole different kind of level of meaning to us because it's just not part of our background.
Right.
See? But like everybody comes from the same background, or that's as much to you guys as it is to a kid in California growing up in surfing or Little League baseball.
It's kind of like roots.
We grew up with it, from the time I can remember, like 2 years old. I grew up with this because my folks took me there. And when I got old enough, I started to sing in church.
That's how you got into singing?
Well, it's one of the ways.
One of the ways.
Yeah. But I liked all type of music. When I was in high school, I had records of Mario Lanza and the Metropolitan Opera. I loved music. The Spanish, I liked the Mexican flavored songs.
But this is so
music for. But this thing here, the gospel thing is just. The gospel is puts your mind, takes you down.
It shows in the music too, because there's a kind of if you've seen Baptist choirs, there's a kind of intensity about it. And it's the same kind of intensity, electricity that you have on stage. And there seems to be that
almost every song.
It's a kind of a soul.
Like
it comes from way deep inside.
It's inside. Yeah.
It just isn't singing notes. It's singing something that seems to come from very deep inside of you.
And at certain times you push out, pull in. Just a part of it. You don't really think about it.
When I was in France about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was doing a film on Jean-Claude Keely. And I asked him just offhand who was his favorite singer. And he said, Elvis Presley. He's my man.
Oh, really?
He's my man.
He's my favorite skier.
And I asked him why.
That's nice.
And he said, but he did this whole thing. He says he has soul. It's hard for an American to talk to a Frenchman and understand that he understands soul better than you do. But he really does. He says he sings, from in here. And that was his way of describing. He had a very limited English at the time.
It's fantastic. But this, this is very, this is very basic. When we get through with our work, what we have to do, we usually wind up doing this.
And you're doing it because you want to do it.
We do it because we want to do it.
In Las Vegas, after you've done 2 shows, everybody's tired. They're up in the suite singing all night till like 6, 7.
We'll do 2 shows a lot of times, and we'll go upstairs and sing until daylight. Gospel songs.
How do you do it? How do you...
Not too often. When you're working every night there.
I mean, what does it do for you? I mean, to get into this, is it like
I think it more or less puts your mind at ease. It does mine. Because you've been really concentrating and everybody's been working out. So these things we know.
It's like old friends.
Right. And it puts your mind at ease.
It takes you down and just levels
takes you
things
down
off.
to a level. Otherwise, you go out of here you couldn't sleep for, There's nothing wrong with it, but... If you ended on a real fast up-tempo song or something, we leave the studio, nobody can sleep for hours.
You're right, though. When you leave the stage like a place like Vegas, you're really up. You're really,
sure.
Really flying.
It takes your mind 4 or 5 hours. It takes you down to a level. Otherwise, you go out. And we usually wind up doing this type of stuff.
Where have you found the guys? I mean, we know about JD, but like the other guys who are in the chorus. It seems like you've known them forever, just watching you around the piano and singing, like you're like real super old friends from a long, long time.
Well, like I said, I knew JD from back when I was 15. Years old, when he first came to Memphis to sing with a group called the Blackwood Brothers. And I was a big gospel music fan, so they would sing all night. And I would stay there all night, you know. And he had formed this new group himself a couple of years ago. And I just heard their records and put them together with the inspirations and everything else that we had. You know.
Looked in the gutter in there.
Looked in the gutter, man, and dug them out.
All of that's going on the stage. It's really.
But then when you put it all together,